Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Married at First Sight season what season is this? 10? Yeah, season 10 episode, I don't even know, but it's the reunion. I totally forgot the show was happening. I'm sorry, Love is Blind has just consumed my entire life, but we're here to talk about the reunion. So before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. So we're going to start with the good news, the happy stuff. We have Tawny and Ollie, who, I mean, gold star students this entire experiment. They are still together, still going strong. Ollie actually has plans to, he has plans to relocate to Sydney to be closer to Tawny. Chef's kiss. I absolutely love it. Also, Leighton and Melinda are still together. Now that low-key was a shock to me just because of how much tension was between the two of them. But I have to give them props because they have persevered through so much in their relationship. It was just a constant butting of heads, a constant fighting for power. Clearly they found some kind of balance in their relationship and they look really good. Like they look really, really good. So I'm happy for the two couples that made it out of the experiment. Now on to the drama. Alyssa is fully convinced that Duncan is the villain in her story.
He said he knows what it's like to be in love, and that's what he came for, and this isn't it, so now's the time to say goodbye. But I've been hearing that he's been living his best single life.
Alyssa's clearly saying he's dumped me and the world is unjust.
It's okay. This is the last time I have to see her on my screen. This is the last time. This woman really, really believes that Duncan is this vile person, and how could he not let her know that the relationship wasn't going well? If you thought the relationship was going well, honey, that's your own delusion. That is your own delusion. Time and time again, Duncan tried to have conversations to mend your relationship, but you didn't want to have those conversations. So of course, I guess he's got to see the experiment through and let you know at the end, I'm not continuing any further. As for what he's doing outside of the experiment, that's his prerogative. He can act like a single man because he's single. There has been a rumor going around that Tayla and Cameron have been sexting. I mean, everybody, with the exception of Hugo, knows what's going on.
Are you? Oh.
She's got a lot to say.
Did he just turn his back and walk away?
I get Chinese whispers all the time. What's going on there?
Very little.
Very little, nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Dilly squat.
Diddly squat.
Okay, he's been sexting Tayla.
No. Really?
With the way both of them acted in this experiment, I would not put it past them to be sexting. You know, at this point in the show, there was no actual confirmation. So I was like, you know what, going off of speculation, I could believe this story. Even with Cam, although Cam did a 180 on me, okay? I felt like his behavior at the end of the process was very unbecoming. However, that behavior is more similar to how Tayla was acting. So it wouldn't surprise me that those two would find a connection together. They are two peas in a pod. So yeah, I totally believe the sexting rumors. They get confirmed later on. But yeah, I also did notice that Dan isn't in attendance yet again. Interesting. He shows up for the couch thing, but he wasn't there for the dinner. And I'm like, why are they editing Dan out? Like, what happened? If you guys know something, let me know in the comments. So at the dinner party, Melinda, of course, is going to break the silence. And she's like, okay, can we just talk about the elephant in the room? This whole sexting rumor, true or false? And here's my thing about it. Sexting typically only includes two people. So for it to get out, one of the two needed to tell somebody else. So can the person who was told just please speak up? Like, I'm so confused on why there's this whole, did it happen? Did it not happen? People in the room know what happened. Somebody speak up. Thankfully, we didn't even have to go through all that drama. Tayla just exposes herself.
I'm sorry. Yes, I saw his wheelie. Who cares?
I don't see what the issue is. I was naked in a nightclub in front of every other man and his dog.
All the while, Cameron has been defensive, denying. It didn't happen. What do you mean? Even if it did happen, I could do what I want. Typically, when people are overly defensive, it's a sign of guilt. Now, after Tayla's admission, his memory just happens to finally recall being nude at a nightclub and FaceTiming Tayla. I'm sorry, that's not something you forget, sir. First of all, why were you at the club in the nude? That is my first question. But secondly, that is not something that you just forget. You know? He's just so grimy. Tayla is grimy. They can go and be dirty and grimy together. I also did want to say before I leave this topic, Cameron constantly says, I don't see what's wrong with it. It's not that deep. It's not a problem. If it wasn't those things, why would you go to such great lengths to hide the story? If it's not a big deal, you would have just said it. If it shouldn't be a problem, you wouldn't be this defensive. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Cameron. Harrison has had a full season of being the villain in hit. Well, he has tried his damnness to, is it damnness or darn? Oh, but darn is like a, irrelevant. He has tried his absolute hardest to make it seem like he's not the villain, but we know that he is. He's flipping the script now and he says, well, I've got some dirt on Bronte and I even brought receipts. Guess who does not care? The entire room.
So I've gone, you know what? I'm just going to message this girl and just ask her.
It wasn't an issue for our entire relationship.
Yes, it was.
Then are you saying it was?
The entire
I've got the printout if anyone wants to see it, by
That's
the way.
cool. I don't care. I have nothing to hide, Harrison.
I would if I sent those messages.
You do not care.
Simply just evidence of you crossing a line.
Here we go.
I love that as a whole, the cast is like, you are delusional. This is hilarious. It's not a big deal. You're a joke. Like, who prints out text threads? Like, come on. However, I do have to agree with Harrison when he says you didn't have an issue with outside people through this experiment, and you now saying you wanted clarity at the end of the experiment is a cop-out. I have to agree. She had a problem with it all for 4 years. 4 years. She had a problem with it for all of 4 days. 4 days. And then she was over it. And then in the process, you wanted to defend, and you had no issues with any of the issues that other people were bringing to you, or even the experts were bringing to you. So now I'm just like, I don't know if you're grasping onto something just to have something to stick onto Harrison, but he is right when he's saying you weren't seeking for clarity. Come on. Of course, the episode cannot end without Alyssa playing victim, and here she is at the table trying to call out Duncan on his bad behavior.
You said, I'm committed. Yes, we have issues, but I want to work through it with you. And then you dump me at final vows. What do you want to get out of this conversation? Because apparently you want closure. But you dumped me, bro. What closure do you want? You dumped me, Duncan. No, I don't want him to run the narrative. You are not the person.
Let him explain.
It's bullshit.
Sweetie, just say you're hurt and keep it pushing. Just because you wanted a relationship to continue and the person ended it does not make them a bad person. If they treated you badly, maybe you'd have a story. But the only story she has is some made up narrative that is only in her mind and is not the reality. I also found it interesting that when she stormed off, the only people who went after her were Bronte and Melissa. A lot of the women don't really support Alyssa in her delusion. And I also wonder why none of those women call out Alyssa. Literally no woman has called out Alyssa. It's very interesting to me. But I'm just like, Alyssa, stop being delusional. Realize that you wanted something to work and it didn't. That doesn't make the person bad. It just makes them not for you. Moving on to the couches with the experts, we first see Tanya and Ali. As we know, strength to strength. They've said they loved each other shortly after the final ceremony or something like that. And they are also moving in. We love it. I love that it's the youngest couple who's making it work. Yes. Then we finally get to see Dan. And Dan is on the couch with Sandy. And Sandy's calling him out, saying he came in this process with ill intent.
I might not even be his type, that's fine. At least give me a chance.
No.
And then...
I disagree with that. Sandy, we've got a lot of differences, okay? And I think, you know, that's the ultimate reason why the wheels fell off.
Stop looking at Hugo. I know what you're doing. Stop intimidating him.
No, I'm not.
Okay?
When you say you don't recall,
Word for word.
that suggests that it absolutely could have happened.
Dan absolutely does that intimidating stare. He tries... Okay, Smolder, who cares? Who are you intimidating, Dan? You are not a scary man, please. Be for real. It boggles my mind how Dan can categorically deny being, you know, negative towards Sandy or mistreating her or anything like that. But the words that he said in Hugo's presence, he cannot recall. And if he cannot recall, it's not denying that it happened. He cannot categorically deny that that happened. So I would want to know how both can be true. He cannot say he did not say bad things about Sandy, but he can say he was not negative to Sandy, right? In saying you cannot recall, you're leaving a door open for there to be a possibility that those things were said. So if there's a possibility that those things were said, there's a possibility that you also projected those things to Sandy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, Dan, it doesn't make sense. If it's a no for one thing, it's got to be a no for everything. If it's a don't recall, then you don't recall everything. If it's a yes for one, then it's got to be a yes for everything. Like the uncertainty about one, but the certainty about another literally just does not make sense. Sandy is also asked about her relationship with her parents, and she says that they have showered her with love. Even though they did not support her decision, they still love her as their daughter, of course. And she's been received back into the family with open arms, which is great. You know, she went into this process. She showed some representation for people just like her, and she's grown in this process, and wish her all the best. Next on the couch is Layton and Melinda. They were shown their journey, and it just reminds me how far they have come. There wasn't too much to talk about them, just basically like they've learned how to have healthy discourse. They love each other. Well, did they say that they love each other? I'm assuming they do. But yeah, basically they've worked through their pitfalls and they're starting, you know, a healthier relationship than what was going on in the process. Then we have Lyndall and Cameron who sit on the couch, and they're talking about how great single life is, you know, how great it is to be away from the person they were in partnership with. But as we watch the footage, they're showing little, you know, seeds of Tayla's interest in Cameron. And then even after that, this whole thing just makes Cameron look so sleazy.
Are you a countryman? I'm interested now. What's your star sign?
Virgo.
Oh, Virgo.
Yeah.
It hasn't been explored yet. Not that it is going to be explored.
I think that's where it ends there. Nail in the coffin.
In Cameron's defense, what happens after the process is literally irrelevant. Like, it should not matter. You are single people, you have left the process. As long as nobody is infiltrating an established relationship, it's fair game, right? Problem is, I have always believed that there was a shift that happened in the season, and we can assume it was because of Tayla. That is Lyndall's assumption. I'm going to hop on that train as well. I highly doubt that the affection that was happening at the beginning was all pressure. Could Cameron have felt pressure? Absolutely. But to go all the way and have sex with the woman, and then you're going to say it's because I felt pressured, I don't know if I buy that. I do think that he had a want for this relationship. He did want to pursue it. Somebody came, shifted his perspective, and he didn't want to pursue it anymore. He probably didn't have the guts to cut it point blank, and it bit him in the ass because now you look like an absolute sleazeball and could not care for you any less, honestly. So yeah, I'm just like, of course you can be single, you can do what you want on the outside, but it looks like that started in the process. So Lyndall does have the right to be upset. But baby girl, you left that man at the final vows. Don't bother about him no more. Alyssa and Duncan are now on the couch, and Alyssa really thought she was going to be the victor in this encounter. She was not.
I just didn't expect it. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like I didn't know who he was.
My heart was in it. I wanted it to work. I didn't come here to go to the end and then not be in love.
Not every day you can watch a whole relationship kind of crumble in front of your face. I shouldn't have been emotionally charged and been able to sit in a conversation and really hash things out with Duncan and give him what he needed.
Introspection? From Alyssa? Wow. Miracles do happen, I see. It's amazing what watching back your delusion can do to your perspective. She now sees herself as being a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and is apologizing to Duncan for everything she put him through. And I'm like, find a freaking Lee. Like, there's no way you'd watch this back and think that you were the best person in this relationship. The best person was absolutely Duncan. I'm glad he's out of it. And I hope that he finds a woman who's actually worth his time, because Miss Alyssa, you were not worth ours. Last on the couch is Claire and what's his name? Jesse. I forgot these people. Claire and Jesse, who obviously have some unfinished business.
It was clear that he respected me enough back to try and rebuild and move forward.
She's coming to Perth.
What?
Whoa.
Watch this space.
I love it.
I'm gonna cry.
Good luck, and we look forward to seeing.
Watching their story back, I actually forgot how tumultuous it was at times. Like, it was pretty rough, cannot lie. They did make it through. They have come clean about everything, you know. Jesse admits that he's not this saint that he thinks that he is. He does have his faults. Claire did apologize for the gaslighting and all of that. She also is a person with faults and acknowledges that and apologizes for what she put Jesse through. They do seem to want to pursue something romantic, and I think that there's a chance there. They do have a good friendship. They do have a good foundation in their relationship for sure. And if they were to progress into something long-term, at least they're starting on a clean slate. Everything is out on the table. We are proceeding with honesty. So yeah, it'll be nice to see if they make it in the long run. I'm pretty sure you guys have spoilers on who's together, who's not together. So if you do know, let me know. But that is it for season 10. We made it through, you guys. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And of course, I'm gonna see you in the next one. Listen, Right at First Sight Australia has me in a chokehold.